What's going on, guys? It's Tactical Trash Panda once again. Today is episode 5 of Talking Trash with Panda. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I want to thank our channel sponsor, which is Newprint Custom Firearms. I want to let you guys know that their books are open now. They do have a website. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. If you need any laser cuts, optic milling, any specific modifications that you want to your slide, hit them up. They are some great people with fast results. So thank you again for Newprint Custom Firearms for sponsoring our channel. I want to bring in my host, Angry Sarge.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. I'm excited. We got an awesome guest tonight, so this is going to be really fun.
We do have an awesome guest, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know him. So without further ado, let's welcome Tactical Considerations.
Hey, Mike.
Gentlemen.
Good to see you.
Guys doing?
Mike?
Great, doing good, man. Doing good. Ready for this show. Look at that. Somebody said I layered up. It is chilly out in the garage, which is really weird because Texas is like, it doesn't know what to do. It's like 1 minute we're 70 degrees, the next minute we're 30. So
I believe it, man. It's like that in the DMV area right now. It's cold in the mornings. It's like summertime by the afternoon.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were in the garage, dude.
Yeah, I'm in my garage, my half-car garage.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's the baller half, right?
So, Mike, thanks for joining us tonight, man. It's a pleasure to have you, and I know our guests are super hyped to have you. I'm already going through all the comments, and wow. I want to just give a quick shout out to some of the people that are on here. Sport Brand, thank you. J-Dub in the Tub, thanks for joining us. Caleb, Iron Sight Army. We got some other people. Croak is in the house.
Hopefully Walsh made it. That guy, Thin Line Defense.
Oh, the Wizard?
Yeah, the Wizard.
Marconi Armory, Xeon Zone, Freaking Stain. A lot of our guys, One Love Design, Savanity, Everidge. We have quite a few. We have Wave Slave. You know, I'm forgetting to shout these guys out.
Oh, yeah, man. Wave Slave's here.
That's your Patreon right there, man.
Solid dude. In fact, he was the guy that I got to borrow something of his that was really cool one time.
Yeah. He was how we got kind of set up in a sense with the whole holster, you know, that Icarus. So that's how that all worked out. So he's always been cool and solid. So
Ralph's here.
Oh, he made it.
Yeah.
He made it.
Actually,
Ralph the Ghost.
Yes, the Ghost.
It was on
Ralph.
First
Big
time
Chungus, baby. Big Chungus.
Oh man, I remember this. I was about to say the first time I was live with Mike was actually on Ralph's show.
Yeah.
Doing Rate Your
Rate Your Build, baby. 5 stars or not.
Yeah.
So Wall said, I'm hoping to do some keyboard warrior comments from Mike's channel.
Dude, I love that, dude.
Yes.
That fucking kills me when I see his keyboard warrior character. He's just he's crying with the keyboard.
Yep. I told him, I said, my son asked if he could do like the voice for one of those. So we're waiting on that collab. So that'll be pretty fun.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun, dude. I like that channel, dude. That Thin Line Defense channel is doing very well.
Yeah, they're definitely some good people, and they've supported the crap out of not only just HCM back when it was a holster company, which it's nothing now, but they supported the crap out of me too. So I'm always grateful for that.
Now I found out about Thin Line Defense through you, Sarge. So thanks for bringing us together.
No, I appreciate it. Most of their guys are here too. So
yeah,
that's the cool part about it. They come support.
I mean, we're here now, so let's get to the nitty gritty. Mike, again, we're excited to have you on here. I'm sure our guests, our viewers are all excited to have you on here.
Yep.
So we got a couple Q&A so people that don't know you can get a chance to know you. And the people that have been following you for a while, they can get a deeper insight of who you are and how you became who you are today, and what you do. So we got our first question for you tonight. What is your background and how did you get interested into firearms? Because you are a huge firearms channel.
I've got a couple of guns, yeah. So, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. We were like an urban family, but we were always outdoors. Dad always had guns. Military history in the family. So grew up, started off with that Benjamin pump air gun, and then moved my way into bigger stuff when I was old enough. But different world back then. That's when you used to be able to ride around on your bicycles and shoot your friends with no more than 3 to 5 pumps, with a Daisy rifle.
Yeah.
You go to jail for that shit now.
I know. Jeez. Or get shot.
Times have definitely changed.
Yeah. So, grew up with that. Was always in the outdoors, hunting or camping, fishing, a little bit of hunting here and there. Went in the Army at 18. I didn't want to go to school right away after high school, even though I'd taken some college classes in high school. I wasn't too stupid and figured if I could get school done with fast, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But I was kind of burned out, so I went in the Army. Went in as a regular infantry dude. It was, I'd watched, Desert Storm when I was very, very young. I could barely remember it. I watched that, and then I watched Somalia, and I was like, all right, time to go to work.
Yeah.
Went in. Me and a good friend of mine got plucked out of basic training, and they sent us off to a SOCOM medical test, and got the opportunity to try out for the Ranger battalions. Made it, and served my time up at 2nd Bat up in Fort Lewis, Washington, and did that. Got out, and the gun stuff just stayed with me. I never left it. I've always been a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. Whether it's recreation or hunting for your lifestyle, or shooting for videos now, it's just fun, and
right.
It's culture. I've told this to people before. I'm like, this country was founded on freedom of speech and guns.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. I mean, you can deny it all you want.
Yeah. So
just stuck with it. Started to try out new guns, different guns, everything you could imagine. Especially after being in the military, you get to shoot all the cool stuff. And then I found out it became really expensive if the government's not providing that to you. So
exactly.
Yeah,
no, I get it. So like, I will say this. So like, you growing up in an urban environment and kind of being exposed to it, imagine the exact opposite. And you're coming from a state that isn't really big into it. So like me coming from New Jersey and then getting stationed in Texas. And it's like, what? I can have a fire. What is this? Is this real? So it was like a complete opposite thing for me. So that's when I started getting into guns, because I could own them now,
Yeah, so that's just sad, It really is.
Yeah, it is. Like, I knew nothing until the Army. Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that you got that, but it's sad that, like, Jersey and places like that are so restricted, because it doesn't do anything good. It doesn't help you. It doesn't, if anything, it just makes sure that only criminals are armed, is literally what it does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How was that change from the Phoenix area going to Mount Rainier, per se? That's like a completely different landscape.
So I honestly loved it. I was going to stay in Washington when I got out, but it was a very different state back then. So the late 90s, early 2000s, Washington was a very different landscape. I mean, it was always kind of weird,
Yeah.
But it was just different. It wasn't bad. It was just different. And then it just started to get really crazy. And when I was getting out, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go home and just finish college. And I had this idea that I was going to be a big businessman and work at the banks and drive the BMW and wear that 3-piece suit every day. And I did that for a couple of years, and I was like, yeah, this sucks. I was like, I couldn't sit in the cubicle anymore.
Yep.
But I loved it up there, man. The outdoors life was amazing. The weather was great, especially around Fort Lewis, because it wasn't like Seattle where you get that like mist rain every day.
Right. Yeah.
But I just had to make a decision, a lifestyle decision to do the right thing, which was finish school and try to build a career rather than stay there. And I'm glad I didn't, because my friends that stayed there have all left because it's gotten crazy.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that 100%, man. And I think I've been to JBLM one time, and that was who's I attached to? I think it was a PSYOP unit. We're going out there to support you guys, so that was pretty cool. That was interesting because I mean I can't say I've spent a whole lot of time in SoCon, but that's kind of where I grew up. So pretty cool, man. We almost crossed paths. It's a small world.
Right.
So, okay. So we got some questions from the wizard, if you want to take his question.
Oh, I can only imagine what these are going to be.
He's sorry. I'm getting over whatever the cold or whatever, but it's how did you turn your hobby into YouTube, and how could others follow in your footsteps?
So if you would have told me that at some point I would know how to work a camera, edit videos, and I'd be filming myself talking about guns, I'd have called you a liar, a cheat, and a scoundrel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was a dare.
Wow.
It was a bet. It was basically a bet and a dare. And I kind of, because I had never really searched on YouTube for informations about guns or anything, because I could just call one of my buddies or call one of my friends that's an armor, or I had the knowledge myself. So it was kind of a dare like that. And then once I did it and I saw that it was helping people, even though my content originally was horrible, like it was just so bad. I think everybody starts out that way. I just started to do more of it, and then it kind of turned into the business, and it's just kind of grown from there. And I had a lot of good help along the way from people that were so much bigger than me, that either would send me a part or give me like, hey, do this and it'll help out, so the community was overwhelmingly helpful, which was a huge help.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I could say that I see that a lot too, because there are a lot of people out there that are willing to help each other. I mean, like you sat with me one night and we were trying to figure out my PDP. So that was like, I was taken aback by it. I was like, why is this dude wanting to talk to me? So that is very helpful, because looking at what you're doing and what, people I've been following for a long time, like Travis Haley and, that Garand Thumb guy, the other Mike, and some other people, it has kind of given me that motivation and kind of like that direction of where I want to take my stuff. So it's good.
Yeah.
Man.
And if you just provide people something of value, they're going to be grateful for it. Whether it's just, hey, stay away from this, or try this out instead of that, or even if you just give them some entertainment. Some of my friends that have channels, Administrative Results, right? He lives right by me, a friend of mine. I did a video with him that was absolutely probably the most fun video I've ever done.
It looked fun.
I played that Spetsnaz guy, and I love watching stuff like that because it's entertainment for me, and it's a little bit of knowledge, but it's some entertainment.
Yeah.
And every channel is different, and I love that stuff. It's just kind of like, hey, there's another side to the super serious gun world. There's a fun part of it too, and it reminds me of that. Because sometimes we get so bogged in the seriousness, we forget the fun.
Right. Yeah. And I like what he's doing too. I mean, the fact that he covers himself up and he can still just keep skyrocketing is something that I was like, kind of like, well, can I come in and do that? But I don't know. It's intimidating at the same time, because you do have to compete on some levels to get your stuff pushed out there. Yeah. So
it's definitely not easy. I mean, I know with YouTube, with all the policy changes continuously and no grandfathering, it must be so difficult keeping up with all that stuff, especially for a channel like yours. Like,
yep.
Yeah, and there's two different sets of rules too. There's basic YouTube and there's your monetized YouTube. So there's varying degrees of rules depending on what structure you're in.
Well, and that's why I got frustrated when you got demonetized. I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because watching your stuff based on the rules that I've read, I didn't see anything wrong with it. So I'm glad that they brought you back.
Yeah, so this is something that I'll tell everybody because it's information that anybody with a channel should know. You can't have direct links to parts or anything, right?
Right.
That went away a long time ago. But if you have, say, links to Amazon, there are things you can link to on Amazon, like a laser pointer.
Okay.
That's out of policy. A scope, out of policy. And I didn't have any of those direct links. But if you have, like, say, an Amazon store, and this is where the confusion was and why they remonetized me so fast. If you have an Amazon store and you have anything on that list in that Amazon store, a laser, a scope, a laser light, anything, immediate violation, even though it's on Amazon.
Wow.
So you've got to be careful with all those aspects. And I didn't know that until I was provided that information from an insider at YouTube.
Yeah. See, that's what makes it hard, because they give you these rules, and that's why I haven't posted any content. I've been sitting on a bunch of content just to make sure that I've got everything lined up, because eventually I would hope that my stuff would reach enough to where I would be monetized. And I want to make sure that they don't come back and say, well, that content that you did 3 years ago, we're going to have to give you a strike for that.
Yeah, and I've had to take videos down and all that. I've had to take a bunch of videos down and splice videos and do things. It's just, it's here's how I kind of phrase it, because people get big mad, right? You got to stay on the rails. I don't own the platform. I don't get to make the rules. I obviously don't like all the rules, but they're there. It's not my company.
Right.
I get to use their servers. So until something changes, I got to stay on the rails. Otherwise I disappear. Right.
Right.
Kind of one of those things in life. Right.
Right. And we don't need that, because we need more people like you out there.
Yeah.
We really do.
The Quarantine Catholic has a question. She is asking, what is your dry fire training routine?
Okay, so this is actually something I posted up for my Patreons a while back. It depends, one, on how you carry, right? Do you carry concealed? Do you carry out a waistband? Whatever it is, you got to do both. What I really like to do is I have like little targets, in my office room right here. And I'll start from sitting, maybe, to practice being like at a table, something like that, or standing. And it's pretty simple for me. It's just basic draw, single fire, right? Dry fire, dry practice. I'll do that about 10 or 15 times just to kind of warm up, make sure you're getting a good sight picture, a good clean stroke. And I usually start a little bit like moderate speed, and then I work my way up to where the wheels fall off and I start missing my shirt or something.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'll start doing, one pull of the trigger, dead gun, rack, slide lock, and then a magazine exchange. Do that about 10 times. And then you've kind of burned in like, hey, I have a malfunction, clear it, magazine exchange. And then I'll go back to doing just a straight draw with multiple squeezes, even though there's one press on like a Glock style or striker fired stuff most time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that in different transitions. And that allows you to run through single dry fire, multiple target, and magazine exchange, slide lock reload. And then once you do the next couple, you start adding your tactical exchanges in. That way you've pretty much burned in a few good things there.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot of good reps on that.
Yeah, you just have to be careful sometimes when you're doing the one round things to a slide lock that you don't kind of training scar yourself.
Yeah.
So out of everything, that's what I do the least, right? The tap rack slide lock thing, because I don't want to burn that in to where you pull the gun out, shoot one round, and then you're starting to manipulate a gun after, because you've just trained that way, right? So you have to be careful with that part, but the rest of it's pretty much good to go.
Yeah. So if you're deliberate, I would say this: if you're deliberate in your training, like I am, I try to get as many reps as I can. So what I would do is I would just focus on one event, just one event. and don't add anything else into it because I want to get all those reps in. And then I'd skip on to another event. So kind of like, I don't know about you, but before I go to work, I would grab my firearm, make sure it's cleared and all that stuff, and then do an admin reload and then holster up, bring it back out, and then holster back. So I get a couple reps in while I'm messing with everything. But that's all intentional with, okay, I'm practicing a reload, I'm doing this. So you have to break down stuff. And that's kind of what I do before I do anything.
Yeah.
Mike, do you use any of the laser cert guns or anything like that, or those laser cartridges at all?
I've played with that stuff before, but if you have a red dot on your pistol or your rifle, it's going to tell you, right? If you pull the trigger and that red dot's moving all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with your front sight. When you squeeze that trigger, if it's moving all over the place, hey. Yeah. And if you do start to see that, that's where you do instantaneously stop and you start to do the remediation. Rack to slide, get a clean trigger press, do that about 10 times to work out the flinch. Right. But if you don't remediate that immediately, that's going to stick with you.
Okay. That's good information.
That's good.
After doing all that, I mean, I know you get a lot of range time. Do you still have bad range days here and there?
I'd say
all the time. There's trust me. And I put like I do hashtag flub life in my videos because I've seen like some of the most legit dudes in the world drop mags out of their guns. I'm like, fuck, shit happens. It's chaotic environment, whether it's training really hard or something. I've seen dudes that you would swear to God would never miss a target, like completely bolo around. I mean, stuff happens. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But on camera, if you want to fake the game, we all know you can make everything look perfect, right?
Exactly.
That's why I put those things in there, and they're like the most obvious screw ups ever. I'm like, oh, that was so bad.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean,
fun,
and it keeps you genuine. It keeps you grounded, and that's me as a viewer. That's what I want to see, especially coming from a tactical background. Is I don't want somebody who's just okay on IG. I'm perfect, but in real life I'm not. Well, it's okay to make mistakes, and you're showing that you make mistakes, and two, that you can fix that, and whether it's with training or whatever. So I like the genuine part of that.
It also has to do with like, running the drills, right? If you do a cold start, say the bear standard, you do the bear standard, which is 7, 5, 7, 10 yards away, rifle, pistol, whatever you want to do it with. It's from I use retention holsters only. So from a retention holster, draw 5 rounds in a 4x6 box, transition 5 rounds 4x6 box, empty gun reload 3 rounds in a 3-inch circle. Well, when you do that for a cold start, you're going to do it in like 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You do it about 9 times, and then you turn the camera on. And I think I've got one on Instagram where I do that drill sub 6 seconds, 13 rounds in a reload.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's not a cold start though. I was like, and I even say it. I was like, I think I've done this drill like 100 times today.
Right. No, but it's cool to see all that fun stuff. But in reality, too, you need to make sure that, especially if you're going to be in that platform and you're going to be teaching and instructing, is to show that, hey, I can mess up. Anybody can mess up, because it keeps that genuine side of it.
And it also keeps beginners' hopes up. Like, okay, if this guy still has bad days and I'm just learning, at least I know I can improve, but at least I could trust this guy to tell me, hey, no matter how good of a shooter he is, he still has bad days.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson.
We have this question, but I mean, that it's really hard to answer, because mine is always going to be training, no matter what. That should be your focus. If you're going to carry a gun, you need to train with it, period. That's number one. Get some ammo, put it aside. Yes, that's important too. But first and foremost is training. If you don't know how to use that thing and you're not comfortable with it, you can't draw it from the holster, however you're going to carry it, then there's no point. There really isn't.
Yeah. Be an asset, not a liability.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
I also always push get some medical training too at the same time.
Yeah, medical's important, but first and foremost, if you're going to carry a gun and that's going to be your responsibility, no matter what, you don't need to know how to plug holes yet. You need to know how to put holes in somebody first, and then you move on to the medical. So I'm with you, Panda. That's just as important, but after the fact.
Yeah, 100%. And most people probably don't know this, but if you have like insurance, like a HSA or an FSA for your insurance, a flexible spending account or health savings account, I think you can still use that money for a stop the bleed class, and you get a full kit with it, and they train you how to use it.
See, that's good. That's good information to have. I wouldn't even known that. I just did it obviously through the military or the law enforcement side.
Yeah.
You know, TCCC, that's like the most important thing in my life as far as training, besides shooting and all that. But having done all that, I'm fairly confident in my ability to maintain and handle a firearm versus being sure that I'm going to be able to run a trach if I have to, or something like that on one of my family members, if it's that kind of critical situation.
Yeah. So here's one of our questions, Mike. What is one gun you would just want for fun or owning it?
Oh, there's so many. Like a non-tax stamp gun, like you can buy it over the counter gun, or are we talking like just anything?
Whatever you want.
Anything.
Whatever you want.
What is that one that's always been on the back of your mind, like just eating away at you?
The handheld minigun, dude. I mean, come on. Every one of us that grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger and saw the movie Predator wants the minigun handheld, right?
Yes.
It exists. We've all seen it. You can't buy one. I did get to rip the Profence, or Profence, yeah. I did get to rip their minigun with Max Mullen. He's another Ranger guy at SHOT Show last year.
Cool.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, me personally, I'm a big 40 Mike guy, and I'd like to just lob some stuff from what is that one? That 6-rounder revolver? I can't remember what the nomenclature is. M32 or
dude, they brought back the old thumpers. Was it the M72?
That was the 79.
I carried one of those.
The
M79, that's right.
Yeah, the old bloopers, what they used to call it.
Yeah, wooden stock. We called it thumper.
Yep. That stuff,
definitely
a lot better. Yeah, definitely a lot better than the 203 mounted on. I could tell you, what was it? The 320, the HK one, the M320, where it's like side loader. Just pop it in and close it. Those things are really cool.
Yeah.
So I've used a lot of cool stuff. I'll say that in the Army, especially like that little, what is it? The bolt action shotgun, the XM12 is what it started, but it's like the I can't remember what the nomenclature is for that either, but that was pretty cool. Little box bed
action.
Yeah, it's a bolt action freaking shotgun. It looks like a little AR, so you can mount it to the bottom of the rifle like a 203, and you can do a standalone, and it has a buttstock that has a recoil reducer and all that stuff on it. It's pretty neat. It's a good breaching gun. It's got a standoff device. It's got a standoff device. You turn it, pull it forward, and lock it. So whenever you're up there breaching, when it hits, it collapses on itself. So it double taps that with that round. It's pretty cool. So it's like a hammer on the end of it, essentially.
That's pretty interesting. I'm going to have to look that up.
There's some cool stuff that I used. I'll say that throughout my years of doing that infantry life.
Right. God bless the government.
Yeah.
You get to play with some cool toys once in a while.
We do. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mike, other than LEO or military training, do you take any other tactical classes on your time off?
Yeah, so I was just up at Gunsight for a few days, and we did some pistol, rifle, LPDO, shotgun stuff. It was an event that I was there for, but training, especially if you can get it for free, is awesome. But I'm actually going to a 2-day precision rifle course pretty soon. As soon as I can clear the dates out, but that, and then one of my big goals this next year is going to be not only that PRS class, but kind of do some more advanced PRS stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've gone out, like I went out and stayed in California and trained with Mike Levy from Knockout Lights.
Okay.
Amazing guy.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. That man's got good stuff going on. Probably one of the fastest, most accurate dudes I have ever seen.
Yeah, he wrecks
and his
that
classes
320.
were, oh yeah, he kills it. And his classes are like $275, $300. I can literally drive to Cali, get a hotel, take one of his classes cheaper than I can take really good classes here locally.
That's crazy, right? And
well, he owns the ranges.
Oh yeah, so he's setting everything. That's nice, man.
Yeah,
I'm kind of jealous in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to have a private range just set up like that, just to train on. I mean, that's the best way you could do it, is because a lot of people, they're just stuck at either indoor ranges or public ranges if they're not signing up for a class. So unfortunately, there's more golf courses than shooting ranges.
That's true.
But,
that is true.
Night Custom Bills was asking thoughts on PW EDC dry fire techniques, asking for a friend.
You probably don't want to answer that one. That's the Prism Wallet EDC.
Oh my god!
Hey,
I was wondering what PW. All right.
Hey, wherever you got to hide it to get away with it, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Jeez.
Let's skip that. Tech Money is saying, Mike, which 9mm are you grabbing? Hellcat Pro G43X or P30 365 XL Micro, etc.
In any configuration you want on that 365.
I have to say that macro is overpriced.
Yeah.
But very, very good. I say all the time, SIG makes a great $500 gun for $800.
Yeah.
But that macro, and I know people are like, oh, it's only got a 3-inch barrel, but it's internally comped. Like it almost, like, it gives you the feeling of a full size pistol with still being quite a bit smaller. And I'm a bigger dude, so I can carry it. But the way that you can fire and run that thing is very nice.
So have you seen the way I set mine up?
Mm-mm.
So I did 3 reels in the last few days. I set it up for the macro because I'm running a Strike Industries slide with a Armored Craft comp on it. So it's basically set up in that I guess sense. But I'm running the macro. I've got the Icarus Precision, and then I've got the Wilson Combat, and the Wilson Combat's weighted. So that's how I did mine. And I'll be honest with you, I love my G48, but I really like the way that macro is.
Yeah.
So
SIG did it right on that one.
Oh yeah, they did. Definitely. It's definitely hard.
SIG does make some nice firearms. But Aegis Gun Care, he's asking, do you ever use dummy rounds mixed in your magazine with live rounds during live fire training? I know 100%. A lot of people do that. Yeah.
100%. It's going to tell you where all the demons are.
Yep.
When you're just banging, all of a sudden, that was the dummy round, tap rack. And then since you just had that response, you got to stop, pull that round, remediate, right? Get that clean trigger press again, because people are like, oh, you're flinching, or when you start pushing and driving the gun, there's a happy medium between driving that gun and a flinch response, right? And you got to find out where that is.
Definitely.
Because like I've got some videos out there on that PDP where it's like, oh, high bore axis, and that thing is just running like this.
Yeah.
And I'm just pushing the shit out of that gun, and on that last round, you see it. But I'm done. I don't care. I'm not firing still, right? So there's a happy medium between a flinch response and like driving and working that gun.
Right.
Because, recoil is stupid, right? Why do we have it? If you can mitigate recoil, whether through a compensator or something like that, why not use that to your advantage? So
I agree 100%.
I hear it all the time. Like, why do you need a comp on a 9mm? It's like, if it's going to add a little advantage, well, then why not?
Like,
Imagine not being able to handle the recoil of a 9mm. I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I hear
okay,
dude. And that's what I get. It's like, okay, well, you carry a 9mm on duty. Like, why would you want to carry a 45 or a 40? Because I don't want to. I've got more rounds with 9mm. I'm confident in my duty rounds that they're going to do the job that needs to be done. And if it
100%.
doesn't, then I'm going to go back to the car and I'm going to grab a rifle, which typically I do anyway, because I'm not going to fight fair in a gunfight. So I'm going to grab the rifle if I can. But I mean, it just comes down to your preference and what you run. And I'll tell you, like the PDP, like when you said it and I was like, I don't know, I'm not a big Walther fan. I finally got one and I ran that thing on the range. I mean, I was sitting at 2.5 inch, 40 rounds on that little small target that's in the corner at 15 yards, straight irons. I was like, how is this even possible?
Yeah, and I've never been a big Walther fan, and I bought that just because it was new and I wanted to do a video on it, and it hands down has become my favorite striker fired like full size gun right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. And I'm not a Walther person. I've been Glock most of my career, or M&P, and then SIG. Beretta's always been with me because of the Army, you know. And I shoot that thing like I own it, but
I suck with that thing, dude.
it's like one of those acquired things because it's like 12 pounds of freaking pool, right? And you just have to get used to it. So what I used to do all the time to get used to it is I would decock every time. Decock, drop that hammer, and then every time I'm squeezing that 12 pounds.
Yeah, and then you just get a Langdon Tactical and realize what it's really all about.
Really. One day.
It seems that way. A lot of these guys like the Beretta 92 style pistols just because all the 80s and 90s movies, and then next thing you know, they're just adding all this aftermarket stuff to make it cool, like even better.
Well, yeah, I could tell you
92 once.
Yeah, I could tell you in combat, I hated that freaking thing. It was nice because if you point it at an Iraqi or an Afghan, they're like, oh, they don't want no smoke, right? But the minute you use it, like I had to fire around at a car that was rushing at us, and that's all I had. I had my rifle down to the side. I had that out because that's typically what you're pointing at people, so you can get them to do what you want them to do. Well, I had to fire a couple rounds and just watch them skip off the windshield. That's very like psychologically, that will mess with you a whole lot. Yeah. So I hated it. You start getting dirt in there and it wants to play around and all that stuff. So that's where I hate it. Stateside, like, too easy.
Because that open top on there, right? That's why you get all that dirt in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you get sand or any of that stuff in there, especially after a good sandstorm, which is pretty
plus
common
those things just had a train run on them.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've been in circulation for how many years and how many rounds have they fired through them?
What was
how many times they've been in?
87 or something?
Yeah, it was mid to late 80s. Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna try to go through these questions from the viewers real quick because we still have our own questions. Sport Brand asks, are tools like Mantis aiming systems have their place, useful 1 to 10 scale? I think we already went over that, but
yeah, they're useful, especially if you can't afford a lot of ammo. I mean, it's really useful.
Yeah, I mean, I use a cert pistol, and then I run the Mantis Blackbeard in my rifle. So I'll just come out here, just pop some reps in, and I'm good to go. So it does have its place.
I feel like they help with. I haven't used it, but as I think about it, I think it'll help with trigger pull, just not jerking too much. But then you're missing out on that recoil at the same time. So I feel like you're focusing too much on one thing, and then you're not getting the other two. So what do you think about that?
It's not a fix all. It's just it's an additional help, right? It gives you that feedback that you may not see or feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, I think it's a great tool. And the reason why I think it's a great tool is because you're getting those reps, right? The whole thing is reps. The more reps that you do on something, the better you're going to become at it. So I guess my thoughts is you're missing out on the recoil, but I mean, look what happened. I hate to mention his name on here, but Lucas Bakken, he brought that kid over that just straight did airsoft, and then he was running drills on the range and killing it, and he's doing airsoft. So look at how many reps he's got dry firing and a toy, and he's good to go. So, I mean, I think it has its place, and it's all about how you use it. If you maximize what tool you're using, then I think you're going to get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah, that makes more sense now. Savanity asks, Angry Sarge, all three, what is your favorite gun and dream gun? Oh, wow. Okay.
Who's starting first on this stuff?
What do you guys?
All right, I'll do it. I'm going to say right now, I love my PDP. Not going to lie. That thing out the box, it doesn't even have an optic on it yet because I still got to do what we talked about. Throw the screws on there. I got to figure out what optic I want to commit to it. But straight out the box, that's probably the best firearm as far as a pistol that I've laid my hands on. My dream gun, if I'm going to say pistol, obviously I can't afford a staccato, so I want one just because of everybody running one, but definitely a good double stack 9mm 2011 1911. So that's where I'm at.
I was thinking staccato too, but it's funny how it went from the year of the P320 and then it went to the year of the staccato or 2011s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
when STI rebranded,
they did for sure. But they're still expensive, even with a law enforcement military discount. Like I talked to them when I was at the USCCA expo, and they're like, "Oh, well, if you're active law enforcement, we're going to give you X amount, and if you're just military, or we're going to give you X amount." I was like, "Why don't you take care of both? I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, at that point, it's not going to hurt you because the gun is still crazy expensive."
Yeah,
it is. I mean, you gotta either be really balling to want to carry
the C2.
Or...
The C2 is where it's at. I played with that. Oh my God. I was like, please get me away from here before my wife murders me.
Right.
Yeah. If I had that, I would have it as a safe queen, take it to the range, clean it all nice up, and put it back in the safe. I wouldn't even want to carry it. But I know there's other people that, they buy it as a tool, and kudos.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, my all-time favorite, I would say it's a series, and it's the old school Smith & Wessons, like the 645s, 1005s, those 930, the 39s, 59s, 645s. I don't know, something about the old schools. Those things were built like tanks, man. You could actually put empty cartridges in those things and would still feed it. But it has a special place in my heart because that was the first gun I ever shot. But now, I mean, my daily carry is always a Glock, just because I know it's gonna go bang when I pull the trigger. But dream gun wise, I can't even think of one. I try not to think of those kind of things because I don't want to spend all that money. But Sarge mentioned, I mean, it seems like every year or every couple months there's a new gun out that everybody wants. Mike, what would you say? Like, what's your favorite? And
yeah, so out the box, like I said, it's going to be the PDP right now. It just does everything I need it to, and it feels good, runs good. I've got thousands of rounds through my PDP now, not a single hiccup. And I'm just accurate. Like I can literally make mistakes in fundamentals with that and still be right where I need to be. And I kind of had that same experience with 320s, but I like the PDP better. Dream gun, It's going to be one of those high-end Carib 1911s, man. If you guys don't know what they are, they've got guns they've sold for like $1 million.
I've seen them, but
insane.
that's like way out of my reach.
Oh, it's way out of my reach.
How do you pronounce the name?
Carib. Yeah. If you look up Carib 1911, you will see some of the sickest, most intricate. It basically like cartel leaders buy shit like that. That's what they look like. They look like those, like bedazzled, but not like in a bad way. But there's like dragon intricate designs, like on the slide. They're crazy. It's a museum piece. You would never really like run that thing, right? But
that's like a cartel piece, right? Where it's all inlaid and sheesh.
You remember that old like remake they did of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like those things. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that is 100% crazy.
I need to go test out a PDP. I've never shot one. I haven't even held one yet.
Don't do it unless you're ready to commit. I'm telling you, there's something about that gun that. And go ahead.
They're beautiful firearms, and I've looked at them through the case, but I haven't even wanted to pick it up just because I was like, I don't need it right now. I don't need it.
Well, Mike's got the good stuff.
I'm gonna want it.
Yeah, Mike's got the good stuff. He got the hook on the magwell and that trigger. I don't know how you got that trigger, but you got the trigger.
Luck. I just logged on one day and checked, and it was available, and I was like, "Bye."
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a cool one. That's definitely a great trigger.
Let's see. Freaking Stang asks, Mike, I know you're a Shadow Systems fan. Shadow System, Glock, or SIG?
I mean, I would go with the Shadow System because out of the box, it gives you everything that you need. I mean, it is a Glock clone, right? But it fixes the angles, the Glock hump that just don't work with me because everybody's wrists and angles are different, right? Mm-hmm. But it gives you those mid-height, like low witness sights for your optics. Got that super deep optics cut. I mean, I've tested a bunch of Shadow Systems and I run a lot of rounds through them. And I dig them, right? They're just good out of the box. And I will pay a little bit more for something that's out of the box where I don't have to go buying a trigger, a connector, doing grip stippling, something, like that, when you're actually going to end up with a $1,500, $1,600 Gucci Glock by the end of the day, which I've got plenty of them, and that's fine, right? Mm-hmm. But the Shadow Systems just gives it to you right out of the box.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, I only own one because I'm broke. As far as gun stuff goes, I'd rather just buy a Glock and send it off to Frank because I get a good deal on stippling and stuff. But just I got lucky on mine, and that was it came in. It was the only one. It was the first one ever in the shop, so it was there for 30 minutes at DR 920p, and 30 minutes, and I bought that thing, and I got a pretty good deal on it. So good. I was happy with it. Yeah, great gun, man.
All right. There was some questions up here. I mean, you already answered what made you decide to get into YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if we went over this. How did you get into the reviews, though?
It was part of the same thing. So it started off with a lot of Glocks because I was, that's what I had to carry at the time because where I was working hadn't opened up the gun roster yet. So basically when they did, I went right to my Kimber Tactical Entry 1911. But I was trying to figure out a way to make that thing better. So you start off with doing like connectors, triggers, all those different things. And that's how I got into doing that for the most part. I never thought it would go as far as it did, but with its many different guns. But it's just like once you start doing one, it's like, man, there's a lot of stuff for other guns I want to try too. It just keeps building on itself.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like a lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I feel like a lot of people buy their first gun and then they try to stick to that same brand for a while, and then they experience another brand that's something new, and they're like, "Oh, wow, there's a whole new world to this."
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a brand loyalist to any brand. No. I've reviewed Tauruses that I was like, wow, that was surprisingly good. I'm like, like people like to crap all over certain brands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a GX4 XL in, man, and I'm gonna be running the crap out of that thing. But I've tried the G3C, the G3, the G3 Tactical, the GX4. I mean, I walked out of the store for $525 or something with a G3 and a G3C, and for $520, I ran the crap out of both those guns. I just put another 500 rounds through them with Tactical Toolbox out at the range this past week, this Wednesday, and not a single hiccup. And I know people have had problems with them, and it's a cheaper gun, so there's going to be QC issues here and there. But once you've tested it, which you should always test a new gun, don't ever just buy a gun, load it, and think you're good. That's an untested piece of equipment, right? It's a mechanical device. But I tell people I've been broke before, and that $250 gun was all I could afford. So if I can trust it, I'm going to carry it, right? And I've had a good experience with them, which I didn't think was going to be the case, because they had a rep,
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, to me that makes sense, and you're not only sticking to just, oh well, this is what I like. You're kind of broadening it and helping other people out that really can't afford to go out and get, shadow systems or anything else. I mean, just like the AREX, I think you did the AREX. Yeah. I mean, to me, whenever I messed with them, it wasn't my style. I couldn't do it. And I wanted to, because I thought they were really cool and everything, but that grip is just a little bit different for me. So you doing that and showing that.
I liked them. Yeah.
That's what kind of turned me on to that. And then when I tried it, I was like, okay, it doesn't work for me, but I could see the value in it for somebody else, because they're not that expensive. And I feel like they're made very well for what they are.
Yeah. I've had a great experience. I bought two of them. I bought those myself, and they're
right.
They're still running like champs. In fact, I've got to do another follow-up video on them pretty soon in the next few months or something.
Right. And that's what I respect about you, is you're not afraid to grab something that isn't priced or isn't what Reddit says you should have, because they're a cesspool of crazy. That's just we'll just keep that there. But that's what I'm saying, is you're able to get out there and reach out to not just us kind of people, but the people that are looking to get into firearms. So that's good, man. I give you a lot of kudos for that.
Yeah. So, Mike, this was a question, actually a personal question for me. How long were you making content before you had any major growth on YouTube and social media?
Oh man, I want to say it was like, I don't know. I mean, it was several months, like 9-10 months at least, something like that, before you really started to see some good growth, And as long as you keep improving, it just kind of grows faster.
Yeah. Okay. And how often were you posting videos and content, within those first few months? Was it one a week or multiple a week?
So I started doing just one a week, and then I ramped it up to 2. And that's when you kind of see some growth, because you're giving the algorithm more to work with. And then if your content is getting better and it's stuff that people are interested in, because the market ebbs and flows, right? Like it's guns, and then all of a sudden it's parts and accessories, things like that. So you kind of got to stay in tune with what people are looking for at what time. So if there's been a huge growth in gun sales, about 90, 120 days later, there's going to be a big boom in parts and accessories, right? So you got to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
But it just kind of started to grow with 2 videos. And then last year I did 3 videos a week for almost the entire year to get over 100,000. And that was just, I mean, I still have a full-time job. That was like murder. I was up all night editing, and I was buying thousands of dollars worth of camera gear and lighting. And now that sweet spot is really 1-2 videos a week, but specifically timed and very well thought out for what the audience is looking for.
Right.
Okay.
There's a whole thing. You start to learn, and I'm trying to, go back and forth with Panda on is times that you post, times, whatever, however many times you're posting, plus, your content, and if it's done in a good format. And I'm starting to pick that up and starting to learn it too. So thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because that solidified what I heard, and it made more sense, I guess.
And you didn't mention juggling real life like work and whatnot. I was gonna ask any tips on juggling work life and social media life.
Yeah,
it's hard to focus on one and not the other at the same time.
yeah. So you have to have business hours, right? Like you have to allot your hours for what you're going to do to grow your YouTube channel or whatever social media platform it is. But you also have to put yourself on the clock. So like I'll set a timer, like 45 minutes, I'm answering comments, go. And then the next 30 minutes are planning out a video, the next hour is filming, the next 2 hours are editing, whatever it is. That's pretty much what I found. And then you'll find a flow where it kind of works with your life and you kind of stick to that. That and you got to make sure your family's on board with it, right? Like you don't want to like stay in the cave all night, right? You've got to keep a healthy balance with your family and your work life. That's like mental health, family health, all those things. So, I mean, you've got to work hard, but you can't get away from the things that are important in life either.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'm struggling with right now is new job, crazy hours, come home. I want to spend time with my wife, but I also don't want to like die off of social media either. And I'm trying to figure out like what the best, like, should I just do it like a couple of days out the week? All right, I'm gonna focus on this for maybe an hour or so after work or during lunch break, or because like you said, family's number one. Work, you need that for the income. Social media, you want it to grow, but you don't want to let it overtake your life either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like your BOP, like I still want to see you like grow. I think you have that potential to grow and all that stuff, but it's like that balance. Exactly what Mike was saying. So like me,
that's part of the BOP.
Yeah, so that is the cool part. You got 2 BOP members in here, but but no, I mean, like, look at what he's doing, and I'm sure Mike would help you out. I mean, he's helped me out on some stuff if you have any questions. So that's the cool part is he's not so up there where he's like, nah, I ain't got time for you guys down here. Yeah. So I don't think you'll be like that, Mike. But no,
No, I got you.
Just putting it out there.
I appreciate it, man. Let's see. Let's go back to the other questions. Shogun Customs asks, Tacon, do you have any plans to broaden your YouTube channel in any way?
So I actually have a second channel that I just haven't put content on yet, but I secured the name because I got to bifurcate a lot of the gear and all the like lifestyle stuff away from the gun content. Just based on everything that's gone on and all that stuff. So that'll be coming soon. It's called Gear Solutions. So it's going to focus not only on like gear, outdoor stuff, but just like everyday stuff that we do, and not because there's so much more that goes into it than a gun or a gun part or something like that. So it'll be kind of like an EDC lifestyle channel, but like outdoors kind of stuff too.
Okay. Kind of like a vlogging or.
No, I'm not doing no vlogging, man.
I was gonna. So basically, you're gonna have, all right, I'm gonna talk about this today, and that's the topic. I'm gonna have this today. That's the topic, type thing.
Yeah, it'll be a similar kind of format with like, instead of like guns and gun parts, it'll be like the gear side of it, or things that like the outdoor lifestyle part of it. Like, what do you use out there for? Whatever, anything that's basically not an actual gun or gun part would go over there.
Okay. All right. I see what you mean.
So how do you feel about purpose? Like, are you like a real purpose driven guy like me where it's like, okay, I run this setup for this reason, and like different gear meets a different purpose and all that stuff. So that's kind of where I guess on your new channel is where you would get into that. But I kind of want to know your thoughts on purpose.
Yeah, so I mean, everything that you buy is a tool, right? It's a task and a purpose. What task are you trying to accomplish, and what tools do you need to accomplish it?
Right.
Whether you're working on your car, or whether it's, you're hunting or your bow or whatever like that, there's certain things that make your life easier, make it, quicker. It's a time saver, stuff like that. So when I'm looking at gear or kit or a tool, like what task am I going to use it for? And is the purpose going to be fulfilled by that specific tool? And if it's not,
yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to catch this in. Do you feel like the military kind of gave you that task condition standards and that's what you applied, or is that something that's been with you kind of ingrained based on your experiences over that?
So that was really drilled into me by my grandfather and my father.
Okay.
My father owned a contracting company for many years, and there's always the right tool for the right job. And the first time you use the wrong tool for the job and you cut your hand or catch a hammer to the face or something, you learn quickly task and purpose. What's your task? And, purpose, what tool are you going to use for it, right? So that really came from them, building hot rods, all that stuff I did with my father was, knowing the right tool for the job, being able to schedule the time to do it because, he had 4 kids and a wife too.
Yeah.
So, things that can make your life easier, things that can make your life more fluid, things that can, save you time. That's how I look at tools, stuff like that. What's going to keep you safe, obviously, things like that. But if you don't put the thought into what you're buying and what you're actually going to use it for, because how many dumb privates were walking around, day after basic training with that M81 camo notebook cover, right? That we all bought in the PX because it was so cool. Worthless piece of equipment. I think I still have it in a bag somewhere.
I do too.
But yeah, that thing served no purpose, right? But we all bought it. So it just
well, I mean, it's supposed, when you go out to the field, you're supposed to, have camouflage or some kind of way of not being seen or anything like that. But yeah, you're right. Because the Right in the Rain books, they're green, they're tan. I mean, it ain't going to matter. If you're in brush, you're good to go. You don't need woodland camo or ACU or, sorry, I almost threw up on ACU.
Yeah.
That stuff was terrible. The worst uniform ever.
I thought that was your favorite uniform ever. Sorry.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not. Woodland, DCU. All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
OCP, the Scorpion camo was good. But that's it. ACU, no. They can take that. I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah.
All right, so Vanity asks bonus points. Type of grips.
Ooh, like how far behind on that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Sorry, Vanity.
Got to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
You might get a really weird answer out of me on that one.
That's our fault. I mean, we might have to go back and look for that. But if you could,
fine. If he says it again, we'll address it.
If you could go further into detail with that question, we'll put it up. One Love Design question for all three. Aside from 2A, what is your next best passion? Ooh, that's a good one. Mike, what do you like to do other than 2A stuff?
Yeah, so in like inanimate life, like outdoor something like fishing, man. I love bass fishing out here in Arizona. Any kind of fishing, deep sea fishing. I love deep sea fishing.
Nice.
I'm just camping, anything that can get me in the outdoors, whether it's mountain biking, because I live right by a huge mountain preserve. That's what I like to do outside. I love living in the wild, man. It's a ton of fun. Like animate wise, my passion besides that is, my wife, right? So, I got married really late in life. I've never been married before. And I never thought I would get married or, ooey gooey fall in love and want to live my life with somebody. But, that's pretty much what drives just about every decision I make now.
Right.
Not by force, it's by will, by choice.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I feel the same way. I just recently got married a few months ago, and
And what's his name again?
Wow.
he ain't hold no punches on it. I'm telling you.
Saw my opportunity, took it.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, see, there you go. You gotta look at Mike, and you just throw those opportunities. I'm like, damn it, he got us. But no, I completely understand what you're talking about. I mean,
yeah.
Sarge, what is your passion outside of two-way? And
I mean, I like to game. That's my other thing. If I'm not on the range or prepping myself, training or whatever, I game. That's kind of my little outdoor activity, should I say, even though it's indoor, I guess. No, I mean, I like to go.
Code Red, Mountain Dew, and Cheetos next to you,
bro. All of it.
And then by the time you're done gaming, your pee-pee is orange.
Sometimes it's red. I mean, you never know. No, I mean, that's something that I like to do. I first went, when was it, this past summer? I went to our first camping event where we kind of camped out, and I was like, okay, this is not like the Army. This is not being out in the field where it's miserable and you're having to ruck or do all kinds of crazy stuff, sleeping in the rain, all that fun stuff I don't miss. So that was pretty cool. So outdoors for me, I spent so much time outdoors in the last 21 years that I'm just like, unless I'm with somebody kayaking or doing something like that, I just don't have an interest for it. Unless I'm with somebody else. Like kayaking school, I like doing that. It's pretty cool. So, but yeah, gaming, that's my other thing. You kind of, mentally, it kind of puts me in a different space. So that way I can deal with my own demons and stuff like that. So it's kind of like my outlet in a sense.
Sure, escape.
Yeah. Since I can't get to the range all the time because it gets expensive. So.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
I think we all have similar. I mean, I grew up with my dad taking me out hunting and all that stuff. So outdoors was always one of my passionate places. Like I felt like that was the place where I could go on a hike or something and clear my mind. He also had a fishing boat when we were growing up, and fishing was always fun. Then I got out of the whole fishing thing for like about 20 years and recently just got back into it. And that's pretty fun too. And it's kind of inexpensive. It's not that expensive as I thought it was, unless you're going to go out on the charter boats and whatnot.
You clearly don't own a boat.
Yeah, that's true. I like to.
You know what boat stands for, right? Bust out another 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They say
they're expensive.
A boat owner's the two most exciting days of a boat owner is the day he buys it and the day he sells it. Apparently, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, other than outdoor stuff, I'm a family guy, man. I enjoy spending time with the family. Like that's what really makes me happy is seeing everybody interact with one another and throw jokes around or whatever. You know, as long as I feel like that's the most important thing in life. Put everything aside, family comes first.
Yeah.
Shogun is asking, what is the root of why you do what you do?
To get that money.
on YouTube? No, it's just fun, man. Like it became a challenge and it became fun. So I'm not an artistic person, right? Like I'm very like nuts and bolts, mechanical, and it was a really big challenge for me to start to look at the art side of cinematography and how to take photos and to learn. There's so much that goes into taking good quality photos and videos, and then editing and learning how to run editing software. And it became one of those things to me that was almost like one of those personal missions where I was like, I suck at this. I need to get better at it.
Yeah.
And you just put in the work. But a lot of it too is, you know, I've been lucky in this life to get really cool training opportunities from where I've worked or what I did in the military and get really cool guns and gear and all that stuff. But when you get out of that world and you got to buy all this stuff yourself, it's very expensive.
Yes.
But it's an investment in yourself. So helping people kind of figure out what will suit their needs based upon their end purpose for that gear, because not everybody needs, a $800 Defender armor plate carrier, or, a $500 Ronin Senshi belt with all the coolest gear on it and stuff. There's levels of gear, right? As long as you're not buying like airsoft stuff and trying to use it real world, right?
Yep.
But helping people get the best they can afford, because you can't afford to buy it twice kind of scenario, is a big part of it too. Because like I said, I've been there where I was like, man, I can't afford this, or I want this, or, is this one, I hate to say this word, just as good, or is it going to serve the purpose? That's a lot of the reason I do a lot of the stuff like the Tauruses and other things that are on the more economical side, because there's a lot of single parents out there that can't afford a $600 Glock, right? $650 Glock. They can't afford, a $550 M&P. So guiding someone to what's going to serve their purpose, which is basics, self-defense in the home or whatever, they're not going to go and, jump into a combat zone and try to run that pistol. They need it for one specific instance, and that may be good enough. So I've had a ton of people that have actually reached out to me and just been like, thanks for doing this, because I ended up buying that and it's been everything that I needed it to be. And that's kind of cool when you can help somebody, especially people that are just coming into the Second Amendment, right? Like you want to help those people.
Yeah. Kind of mentor and guide them as well. I think that's the point. And I stress that a lot, at least on my side, is that, we're here to help each other out. Like my community, we want to help each other grow. We want to help each other with decisions on gear or products or whatever. So they're always posting links about deals or something like that. So it's like its own, I guess, ecosystem in a sense, but it's based on helping each other find the best stuff we can afford. Because a lot of us, we're just regular dudes. We don't make a whole lot of money. So
and the Second Amendment community is probably one of the most helpful communities that you'll ever be in. People will go out of their way. You forgot your ear pro. Oh, here, you can borrow some of mine. Or hey, your sight fell off. Here's some blue Loctite. Let me put it back on for you. You guys know who Jay the Shooter is? Yeah. So he was at one of the things I was doing at Gunsight, and we were talking about some different stuff. And I had talked to him previously. He was on a live stream actually with you guys one time.
He was.
And I remember him saying, he's like, this is one of the most diverse communities there is. Like, which is, when you think about it, it really is, but it's also one of the most diverse and helpful communities that it is. And people lose sight of that sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And it's good that you're gaining those connections, and then you're using that to pass on to other people too. So I like that, man.
Freaking Stang asks, Mike, what future gun are you planning on or hoping to review?
I just got in that Taurus GX4 XL. I just got literally picked them up today. The ADM, American Defense Manufacturing rifle, their full ambi setup. I've got a couple other things coming that I'm under NDA for that I can't discuss because they're not public knowledge yet.
Yeah.
I've got some Beretta APX A1 stuff coming in. There's just a flood of new guns that are coming in. Bunch of new optics, and then I'll be doing a rifle series. I got a couple more rifles that I'm working with right now to get in to start doing comparisons of different levels of rifle, from a $8 to $1,000 AR to $1,000 to $1,500 to $1,500 to $2,000, and all the way up to your $3,000 full custom runs.
Right.
That's a lot of what's coming up. And then some of the PRS stuff, I just built this ridiculous $6,000 long range precision chassis gun. That'll be coming on the channel real soon. Yeah.
I can't imagine. So how you really feel about the APX? What are they, the Gen 1s or Gen 2s?
The APX A1?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're the A1 tactical one. That was their submission gun.
Yeah.
I fired the thing like I fired like a mag through it once. I can't really say a lot about it,
Right.
but hopefully I'll have one here in the next week or two. I was just emailing back and forth with the distributor. So, I mean, I'm happy to give it a shot. We'll see what it does. It's got to stand on its own. That's the only thing is like, even though like when I'm doing reviews, it's like, hey, this may not work for me, but it may be perfect for you because we're all different, right? So I can't say, and people have done that where they're like, this thing doesn't fit it's terrible. I'm like, well, just because it doesn't fit you doesn't mean it won't fit somebody else, right?
Right. Well, I know the Gen 1's got a bad rep. So the very first APXs, they weren't
that was kind of the weird slide kind of looking thing. Yeah.
So hopefully with this A1, it'll be a definite upgrade. And then it'll be a good contender for
it is
an everyday pistol.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different than that Gen 1 APX.
That'll be good, man. I'm excited to see that for sure.
Talking about gun reviews, Mike, you do a lot of reviews. What's the ratio of keep to trade when it comes to the next review? The next review, like how many of the firearms do you typically keep compared to the ones that you trade off, or do you trade for a different one to review after you're done reviewing?
Well, that's an awfully personal question.
All right, be like, look at my safe, bro.
So
I know there's certain people, and I know there's certain people that they don't ever want to let something go once they buy it, and then there's people that they have no attachment to it, so they don't care about getting it.
So for me, it's kind of a conundrum. Like there's lots of stuff in my safe that I don't really have an attachment to, but I generally keep like a lot of it because I need it for long-term reviews and comparisons. So, I don't per se need 4 or 5 Taurus pistols, but I need those for long-term comparisons against other things. I don't need 24 Glocks, but I need every different model to compare against other things. So, plus I just, I don't like selling stuff unless you go to like sell it to an actual storefront and then you take like a bath on it because they'll give you like 30%, right?
Yeah.
So most of the stuff that I buy for the channel, I just end up keeping. Some stuff I'll trade buddies for if like they got something I really want, like, hey, what do you want this? And I'll do like the barter system, something like that. But I work with companies too on just getting loaners in, and that's kind of cool once you can start doing that because you'll get it for like, a 60 or a 90-day loaner and then you just send it back.
So what's the process for that? Is it like you go to your FFL and then they do like a transfer, or is it just?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like
100% transfer.
I got you. I always wondered about that because that's kind of one of those weird gray area type things. It seems like.
Yeah, they typically have you sign a contract saying you'll send it back within 90 or 120 days, and you can extend it, and you actually do the 4473 transfer, and then you just you overnight it back to them when they're ready, and they send you a shipping label.
Okay, makes sense.
So with the loaners, that's cool. Like, cause I'm still trying to grow my YouTube channel, and like you said, like it is expensive when you have to pay out of pocket for it. So with your first loaner, did you reach out to a company or did the company reach out to you?
Oh, dude, I hit up so many companies and got so many no thanks. And that's part of what you have to do too, is you're going to send, especially when you're new, you're going to send 1,000 emails and maybe get 10 responses.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a matter of at some point, because it's got to be a mutual relationship. They have to feel that you're going to give them a fair shake and that your audience is big enough that it's willing, or that your audience is big enough that they're willing to spend the money and time to put a gun in your hand. Okay. And that's kind of what it really comes down to. And I want to say, I can't remember who the first loaner I got was from, and I borrowed stuff from friends. I did that a lot. I borrowed things that friends had.
Right.
And I want to say it was a while before a company like loaned me something. Like I had I want to say like 50, 60,000 subs or something, maybe even.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
There's so many big channels out there now.
Yeah, there is. And that's hard to compete with. I mean, you got look at Jay the Shooter. He's got like 300 something K. So I imagine if he's like, hey, you want to work on something, they're probably like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll probably do something. But, you know, you look at a channel that's got like maybe even 10,000 or 20,000, like TLD, you know, they don't have a whole bunch of people that they're working with, but they do get some yeses. So
yeah, but here's the thing: like companies have caught on to like a subscriber number is BS because you can buy subscribers. There are people in the industry that do that, and it's pretty obvious. If you've got 400,000 subscribers and you're getting 2,000 views of video,
yeah, that's not right.
Yep. So, but if you're a channel where it's the inverse, you may only have 15, 20,000 subs when you're a newer channel, but you're getting like 50, 60, 70,000 views of video. Companies are going to see that. That's what they go after now, not a subscriber count. So it's the quality of the content, the watch time, like how long are they watching? Like if you can get an average view time of above 5 minutes, that's good. If you can get above 6 minutes, better. If you can get like 10, 12, 13 minutes, you're like YouTube God, right?
Right.
So that's what companies look for, and they look for that ratio, like, you know, how many views per video you're getting. And then some videos are just struggles. Like I've done videos where I put so much time into them and like, oh, it's going to be great. And it just shits the bed. Right. And then I'll do a video where I put like no time in it. I throw that sweaty turd out there and think, fuck, people are going to hate this video. And it blows up. And I'm like, what the fuck? That video got like 300,000 views. And it was like a Taurus cleaning video, you know, something like that just helped people is really what it came down to.
Yeah, I think the most watched video I've had so far is putting the trigger shoe onto a trigger bar, and that's been the most watched video I have so far.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. I just did it because I ordered something off the website and it came in and it was all in pieces. And I was like, you know what? I know how to put it together, but let me just make a video.
Yeah, some people.
It's because you provided people something of value.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. Chris, well, let's get through these questions real quick before we run out
Chris
of time.
From the 740 asks, Mike, what is the best advice for some first timer going to SHOT Show range day as a content creator?
Oof, that's going to be a rough day. The one thing you need to remember is that this industry, and this is something that was told to me by John Patton from the Gun Collective, everything in this industry is a handshake. And if you violate that handshake, you are done. You'll be blackballed for life. Never overpromise. Be nice to everybody there that you meet and just be inquisitive. Ask them questions and then have a business card, have contact information, and just let them know you want to work with them. Because it's a lot. Like there is a lot going on at range day out there. And it gets busy, especially once all the big names start showing up. You know, those vendors, they all want certain people at the booth, right? So you got to kind of slide up in there and know how to shoot a gun. Go up there and run that gun. Because if you can go up there and run whatever they're got on the table, they will like, wow, this guy's got something, right? So be able to make an impression, you know, with like that, with handling it, and have knowledge. Target the companies you want to work with. Don't go into it blind, just hoping you're going to fall into something. Specifically target the companies you want to work with first. Go right down that road because it's just one massive straight line, right? And then start working on all the other stuff.
Yep. No, that makes sense, man. That's a lot of good information because I can say I've never been. One day I want to go, but we'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like the after party is like the SHOT Show itself is hectic as heck, but then a lot of people know how to throw an after party afterwards too.
There are some really good parties during SHOT Show.
That's what I hear.
I've always heard that.
And that's where the business happens.
Yeah. I mean, yes, like I feel like the after party is easier to talk to people about certain things than when they're actually at the booth and they have to focus on work, right?
100%. Because it's like I look at these things as relationships. right? That's what it really is. And if you approach it like a relationship and somebody that you want to have a symbiotic relationship with, it's going to go a lot better than somebody that wants free stuff or do something for me. It's like, hey, how can we do something, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's how I treat everybody. Like, you know, I was trying to develop a relationship with a company that you've done a video for, but I don't know that that's working out very well, but it's definitely not on my end. I'll just say that. So I treat everybody the same and try to be nice and all that stuff. So that's a good answer. It's definitely a good thing.
Shogun Customs is asking, he says, I'm learning how to edit videos too. What software do you use? That's a good question.
I use DaVinci Resolve, the paid version.
Yeah, see, that's what he's using too.
Yeah, so the free version is good. Pay the $300 for the real version, and you'll be rendering 4K video at almost 400 frames a second if you've got a good machine, a good computer. But DaVinci is one of the most powerful editing softwares out there. It doesn't have as many like plugins or prepaid things as like some of the other ones do, but it's good. Like I've played with most of them, and that's just the one that I settled on.
Okay. So what about mobile? Do you do anything mobile?
Not a ton. Like I just bought the Creative Cloud Studio, so I have access to everything now. I've done some stuff editing mobile, but it's just so tedious. I'd rather just do it on my computer or my laptop, you know?
So yeah, so what I like to do, and I guess I'm trying to figure it out, is I'm using Premiere Pro. Yeah. And I have that for my computer. And then for my phone, I have Rush. But I like to do everything in Splice because I can do a little bit more as far as transitions and the way things come in and out. So it's like trying to find that balance between like making a short or a reel and having it on the mobile side versus doing it on a laptop. That's where I'm kind of.
And those are completely different types of content. Short content is short content, and long form is long form. Never try to marry the two.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to figure out is where's the happy medium that I can find, I guess, the right stuff to do that with. That makes sense.
You talking about those lights?
Yeah.
Those are the Godox SL60Ws. Best bang for the buck like you can get. They give you like aperture style light with about a third of the cost. Been running those for I think 2 years now. They're tanks. Wow. And then they're on Avenger C stands. Stands are about $175 a piece. And those light kits were, I think it was like $350 for two. It's probably like $450 now because it was a couple years ago.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Everything's price has gone up.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, but I mean, I got a little ring light in front of me, which is you can see at my glasses.
Yeah. That's what I've got over right here next to me.
Yeah, same here. I feel like with this kind of stuff, ring light is the easiest to go with, but you're just coming off with pretty good lighting. And Sarge, all right, quality of ring light, expensive ring light or just any regular ring light?
Hey.
$120 or something, and that's the same one that's here. It's just that I finally broke the switch on the one in front of me after 2.5 years. You don't need extremely expensive lights for everything, but what you have to get is you have to get a light with a high CRA rating, which is nearest to sunlight, right? Or you have to be able to color balance pretty well. That's where DaVinci really kills it, is color grading. Yeah. But you can't mix lights. Like you can't have a 4300 Kelvin here and then a 5700 Kelvin in front of you. That messes you up. But that ring light, what is it, like $120 or something? Best bang for the buck you can get if you need a single light right in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a small one that's a desk, and then I've got another bigger one that's a desk too. But you can actually take it off and put it on a stand and all that stuff. So that works.
Nice. I mean, tons of information tonight, Mike, and we definitely appreciate it. I think that was all the questions from the viewers tonight. if anybody has any last minute questions, I mean, I guess we're getting close to
we're at that time.
So
nearing the end.
Yep.
Before we get off, anybody have any last minute questions?
Yeah, here in a second, Mike, we'll let you talk about everything, your channel, your Patreon, if people want to join that too.
Which we're definitely gonna ask that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
I don't see any more questions, so
don't leave anybody out now.
I know, right?
And I always hate that when I miss a question on a live stream or something. I feel bad because people are like tuning in with their own time. You know, that's the thing too, is like I totally understand like wasted time. So I do like everything I can to like I answer every single question on YouTube. So in the comment section, I don't carry on like long conversations, but I answer every single comment that comes in.
And that's what I like about you. Even if I put something dumb on there, something really quick, even when I'm on, who is it, Mr. Guns and Gears channel, and I like comment after you're like replying back to that, so it's pretty cool.
Carbon Q's in the house. Okay, so Mike, he's talking about SHOT Show. Hopefully he'll run into you. And,
just come up and say hi, man.
There you go.
Hold on,
Mike seems like a down to earth kind of guy, so don't worry about being too shy. So go ahead and if you see him, say hello.
Shogun had a question. He was asking about the lamp that's behind you. He was like, do you get bad vibes from that aura, that lamp? I have to find the question. Let me see.
The last question I got was,
well, I guess that one got taken off, but he was messaging me in WhatsApp. There we go. Says TacCon, can you feel the negative charge ions coming
out
off
of the salt lamp?
Yeah.
It puts me in my state of ohm.
There you go.
Honestly, I bought it because I needed something to add color and richness to the background to separate, right? So that's like a cinematography thing, is being able to separate you from your background, right? And that's what allows you to look more three-dimensional and natural to the human eye.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, there's another one. Your Patreon wants to know.
Oh, the PDP, hands down, like that factory performance trigger, because it's a factory part and the performance is right there with all of the other aftermarket companies. It may not be as aggressive or as light, but it's probably the best factory trigger in a striker gun that I've ever used. I mean, I'll guarantee, I'll say that it's 100% the best factory trigger in a striker gun I've ever used.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean, I haven't used, what is it, the PDT? Is that the flat
the performance duty trigger?
Yeah. I haven't used that one. If that's the second, that's the aftermarket one, right? Not the original OEM.
Yeah, so they have the dynamic performance trigger.
Yeah, the PDP.
And that is
DPP.
I mean, especially once you get a few hundred rounds through it and everything smooths out again, it's really good. It may not look as sexy as the Overwatch or something like that, because I love Overwatch too. Those guys are local to me. They were one of the first companies that actually worked with me. But that for being a factory trigger that comes with a factory testing process, right? Because manufacturers like Walther are going to be able to put a lot more testing than some aftermarket companies out there. Like the only ones I know that probably come close are maybe Overwatch and Apex, and that's why those triggers are actually authorized by several different government entities for duty use.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I love Overwatch. I can't say anything really bad. I love running their stuff in my Glock pistols and all that. So 100% I'm with you on that. But that Walther trigger is something else. I haven't fired a Canic yet, and I hear they have great triggers, but
they stole Walther's trigger design.
There you go.
So that's why it's the Walther trigger.
There you go. So it makes sense.
Canik's doing good things though too. I mean, they got some good stuff.
Yeah, I like the Rival Black. I really like that.
That thing was good. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Anything else you seen, Panda?
No, I don't see anything.
We did have
no Wave Slave asked that question on purpose.
Oh, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Chris said this was a what is going on? It's not letting me click it for some reason. There you go. This was such an awesome show. Thank you. Yes, it was.
I agree. No, it was fun. And Chris from the 740, he's got his channel. It's been growing too.
I'll have to check it out.
It's been really cool to see him because I was with him, I guess, when he had maybe a couple hundred people and just watching him grow. So that was
I never get the chance to watch like a lot of other people's content because I'm always working.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, James? Tactical Pontoon's in there. I love you too, Tac Pontoon.
I have one of his triggers right here.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna check.
That dude's got the touch, man.
Yeah, he does. I'm excited to get on that and do a reel about it and all that stuff. So it'll be fun. Fun little trigger to mess with.
Try it out. I've heard a lot of good things about Tactical Pontoon. I would love to try out one of their triggers. I will.
Once I get done with this, I'll send it to you so you can test it out.
I'm down for that.
Reminds me, I'm sending another YouTuber a couple triggers. Forgot to do that today.
I'm glad I could remind you.
Right. No.
All right. Let's see. We have that. Come on, O-Lights. Come on, Tech.
There you go. Yeah. Mike was
more than happy to come on, man.
Mike was the first person that shitted on O-Lights, and I was like, I need to go to Streamlight after that.
It's the only light with a confirmed kill.
So I talked to somebody about this. I don't know, maybe today or the other day or something like that. But I was talking about how I feel like O-Light has a purpose, but it's not for people that are serious about carrying a firearm. If you're going to carry it for duty or military applications or anything like that, don't ever trust your life to an O-Light. It just, to me, it ain't worth it. But if you want it for a bedside gun or something like that, and that's what you can afford, perfect. I see that being a thing. But as far as carrying and trusting your life to it, I don't. The drop off is way too fast. Like if you need it for a serious deal and you're trying to ID something, and all of a sudden your light drops off, I mean, what good is that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, after you opened up my eyes about that, and Sarge, you did the same thing. It's like you were like, yeah, I agree with Mike with that. Like it has its purpose, but not that. So
Ralph was big mad because O-Light was one of his sponsors, and I was shitting on him.
Yeah, you were.
Because I had just seen so many of them crap the bed. Like guys started to carry them that I was working with and I was going to courses with, and I was like, "Are you gonna trust that light?" And they would run them halfway through a course and they'd die dead. I mean, dead, like never to work again. Yeah. I pulled one out of a bag and it fell apart in my hands.
Yeah.
I've never had a Surefire or a Streamlight do that.
No, the QA/QC on those are terrible, and it's like hit or miss. The ones that I do have, you rarely see them on anything. Like one is for my son. It's on his gun. How often is he going to use that? He's 9 years old, you know. He's not going to use it at all. So sorry, he's 11. I'm not with it today.
I've been up since like 4 a.m. and been busting my ass all day, but I get it.
We have this. We have that question.
Oh, the HRT LBAC promo codes, no. So they sold out of those like almost instantly, and they're like they can barely keep those things in stock right now. So I will say that is a very cool design. And that new arc belt too. So they're doing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they've got my interest.
Yeah, they're all the dudes that started that company are all end user guys, right? Like, so they're team guys, like SWAT dudes, stuff like that. So they wear that stuff all the time, which is cool because that's how they kind of get to test it. But they've got some pretty cool kit, man.
Yeah.
Okay. It is getting to that time of the night, so I guess let's call that the last.
I had to do it.
Yeah. I did a desktop.
Yeah. I'll tell you how crazy it gets. If you ever catch a live on Thin Line Defense, like they're like, I will give you $500 to do a desk pop right now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
To do like an outdoor live stream and then actually do a desk pop.
Yeah, no shit. The whole thing.
Well, no, you can't, because it's like actually illegal to fire it up in the air. You like do one at the berm or something.
Yeah.
And then you'll be suspended from live streams forever.
Exactly. Even your StreamYard will be shut down. They'll be like, we're done with you.
Yeah.
But anyhow, let's give you a chance to tell people how to find you and your Patreon and all the stuff you want to talk about.
Yeah, man. Everything is just at Tactical Considerations, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, all that stuff. Then my website, tacticalconsiderations.com, which basically is like the storage house for all my videos and reviews and all that stuff. So you can check it out, anything there. There's a bunch of different stuff there. That's where I post all the like coupon codes and links and all that stuff. So I keep like a running list on a deals page there, where if you're looking for like a discount on something, it's either from Brownells or whether it's directly through a company or whatever. As many coupon codes as I can get a company to give me to help people save money, I just post them over there and keep a running list of them for everyone.
Do you have a link tree or anything?
Yeah, there's a link tree in my Instagram that you can pull on. It has all the basic stuff in there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just got into that, so I'm always wanting to ask that. Do you have a link tree?
So you find you got that new link tree thing?
Yeah, that thing that everybody's had except me.
Right.
Also, for the viewers, if you want a quick link to any of Mike's links, we do have it in the description. But
yeah, we got you covered.
Yeah, we want everybody to go show Mike some love. If you have any questions for him, hit him up. As like he said, he will answer you right. Not right away, but you will answer them when.
He's pretty good about that. Whenever he's free, like I notice, like there's a pattern to when Mike answers me. So it's usually within that window that he's saying, yeah, I'm going to get on here and mess with comments or something like that. So it's really good. I will say that's a great thing, and that's one thing that I'm picking up, and I've been learning watching you is going back and answering people and stuff like that. So it's very important to stay engaged.
Yes, it is. Yeah. They will appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. Anything you got, Panda?
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I saw Carbon Q on here earlier. Carbon Q is doing 12 Days of Christmas. This currently actually throughout other different channels. Other channels are hosting it. I will be one of those channels hosting it. I believe it's going to be either this coming Friday or Saturday. I have to talk to her about that. But make sure to go follow Carbon Q right now. She's doing giveaways this whole week. But she has it. She's going to let you know whose channel she's going to be on every particular day. I still have to get in touch with her again and finalize things, and I will let you guys know about that once I do figure that out. Sarge, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to end the stream and tell everybody, hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming onto my channel as well, since we're kind of dual streaming. I know it's kind of weird, but I'm trying to get my view time up. So thank you for coming and checking out my stuff. Also, thank you to Mike. Great guy. Obviously, you've seen it tonight. He's real open, and we appreciate him being on here. And the last thing I want to say is how do I say this? Because I'm kind of not with it. Don't forget to not only help each other out, make sure you're helping out, people like Mike, go subscribe. All these other channels that are on here, all the people that joined us in the chat, I saw you guys, help each other out and help us grow what we're growing, this community, and taking care of each other and stuff like that. So it's good to see you guys, and I appreciate you being here. I know Panda does. I know Mike does. He's got hopefully some new subscribers out of this, which will be cool because it's definitely an earned thing. So,
everything helps.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, we'd like to support you, man. You're a great guy, and thank you for being here, man. I'm really impressed, and I hope we can get you back. And once you've retired, and we can talk the real stuff, the fun stuff.
Very soon.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. Thank you.
We appreciate you for coming on, Mike, and thanks again for your knowledge.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it, man.
All right, guys. Signing out. Have a
Have
great
a good night,
evening,
guys.
everybody.